Yehovah Eloheinu Svaod. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Please fill me with the Ruach HaKodesh, that I may speak your written words with boldness to those who listen. I ask all these things in Yeshua HaMashiach's name. Amen. We'll start with the Shema, listen and obey. Children of Yehovah, pay careful attention and respond. Yehovah is our power and authority. Yehovah works in unity with himself. And you shall act upon your love to Yehovah with your power and authority, with your thoughts and mind, with your entire body, with all the muchness that you have. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Hand, behold, nail, behold. Numbers 19. Yehovah said to Moshe and Aaron, "This is the regulation from the Torah which Yehovah has commanded. Tell the people of Israel to bring you a red female cow without fault or defect, and which has never borne a yoke. You are to give it to Eleazar the Kohen. It is to be brought outside the camp and slaughtered in front of him. Eleazar the Kohen is to take some of its blood with his finger and sprinkle this blood toward the front of the tent of meeting 7 times. The heifer is to be burned to ashes before his eyes. Its skin, meat, blood, and dung is to be burned to ashes. The Kohen is to take cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet yarn and throw them onto the heifer as it is burning up. Then the Kohen is to wash his clothes and himself in water, after which he may re-enter the camp, but the Kohen will remain unclean until evening. The person who burned up the heifer is to wash his clothes and himself in water, but he will remain unclean until evening. A man who is clean is to collect the ashes of the heifer and store them outside the camp in a clean place. They are to be kept for the community of the people of Israel to prepare water for purification from sin. The one who collected the ashes of the heifer is to wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. For the people of Israel and for the foreigner staying with them, this will be a permanent regulation. Anyone who touches a corpse, no matter whose dead body it is, will be unclean for 7 days. He must purify himself with these ashes on the 3rd and 7th days. Then he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself the 3rd and 7th day, he will not be clean. Anyone who touches a corpse, no matter whose dead body it is, and does not purify himself, has defiled the tabernacle of Yehovah. The person will be cut off from Israel, because the water for purification has not sprinkled on him. He will be unclean. His uncleanliness is still on him. This is the law. When a person dies in a tent, everyone who enters the tent and everything in the tent will be unclean for 7 days. Every open container without a cover closely attached is unclean. And also, whoever is in an open field and touches a corpse, whether of someone killed by a weapon or of someone who died naturally, or the bone of a person or a grave, will be unclean for 7 days. For the unclean person, they are to take some of the ashes of the animal burned up as a purification from sin and add them to fresh water in a container. A clean person is to take a bunch of hyssop leaves, dip it in water, and sprinkle it on the tent, on all the containers, on the people who are there, and on the person who touched the bone, or the person killed, or the one who died naturally, or the grave. The clean person will sprinkle the unclean person on the 3rd and 7th days. On the 7th day he will purify him. Then he will wash his clothes and himself in water, and he will be clean until at evening. The person who remains unclean and does not purify himself will be cut off from the community because he has defiled the sanctuary of Yehovah. The water for purification has not been sprinkled on him. He is unclean. This is to be a permanent regulation for him. The person who sprinkles the water for purification is to wash his clothes. Whoever touches the water for purification will be unclean until evening. Anything the unclean person touches will be unclean, and anyone who touches him will be unclean until evening. How can we learn to love our Creator after reading this interesting chapter 19? of Numbers. We can listen to the written words of Yehovah. We can obey the written commands of Yehovah. Know that in the time of Moshe and Aaron, a special red female cow without fault or defect, and which never borne a yoke, was used by the Kohen for purification from sin by slaughtering and using its ashes in specific ways regulated by Yehovah. Know that these rare red female cows are in Israel now. Trust that Yeshua's blood atonement has made all things clean. How can we love others as Yeshua loves us? We can share with others that the blood of Yeshua the Messiah has atoned for the sins of humankind. Bear one another's burdens, we can be a living pointer to Yeshua the Messiah. Produce spiritual fruit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, humility, and self-control. Well, in this beautiful Friday night Shabbat, the Aaronic blessing, using the name. On this first day of the Hebrew month of Elul, Yehovah will kneel before you presenting gifts. He will guard you with the hedge of protection. Yehovah will illuminate the wholeness of his being toward you, bringing order, and he will provide you with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yehovah will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon you and will set in place all you need to be whole and complete. Yavirachacha Yehovah, Vayishmaricha Yair, Yehovah Panav Elecha, Vechunicha Yisa, Yehovah Panav Elecha, Veyasem Lecha Shalom. May Yehovah bless you and keep you. May Yehovah make his face shine on you and show you his favor. May Yehovah lift up his face towards you and give you peace. Shabbat Shalom.